Hello, my name is Josh and welcome back to FPL Graduates. In today's video we're going to be ranking the best defenders for game week 13 and looking forward into those next 3 game weeks. If you're unsure what this new style of video is, make sure you go check out the forwards video that was uploaded yesterday. I went through and ranked all of those forwards for this game week. Some interesting picks in there, some good feedback from you guys, seemed like you enjoyed that, so thank you very much for tuning into that video. If you did, if you haven't, the link will be at the end of the video or in the description. So yeah, let's get into the defenders now and yeah, see who's going to be the best picks for this week. So just a reminder, these videos are just going to be strictly me. Obviously Ben will be back on the channel when it comes to transfer targets, team reveals, things like that. The usual sort of schedule. These are just in addition to our current YouTube setup. So yeah, getting into the defenders then. Harwood Bellis in 21st. I think it's pretty obvious why. Southampton seems to just gift teams goals at the moment. He does carry a decent amount of attacking threat, and I think if you have him, you're probably not going to sell him. He's just good to have there on the bench in case of, worst case scenario, you might need him. But yeah, for me, just not going to be an option that I'd look to start many weeks at all. Same could be said for any sort of Ipswich £4 million defender. I've got O'Shea at the moment. Obviously Ipswich go on a better run from now, so hence why they're ahead of the Southampton defence. I personally have Jacob Greaves. He hasn't yet featured since coming back from injury. I potentially might start him this week against Forest away. That's just because I have such bad fixtures for, I think, Mikalenko and Rico Lewis, who I own outside of O'Shea, or outside of Greaves, should I say. So, yeah, for me, it's, again, going to be a selective amount of fixtures that you play them. And, again, you're not going to expect any clean sheets at all. There's not much attacking threat with any of the 4 mil defenders either. So, yeah, for me, they're good to have good to have one on your bench, but any more than that, then you're running into some serious risk in terms of having to play them most weeks. Anthony Robinson is in 19th. This is strictly just because of the fixtures. He obviously got a few assists at the start of the season, but his actual attacking data is not very good at all. Massively overperformed that so far this season. So yeah, for me at 19th at the moment. Fulham in general are not a bad defensive side, but I just don't fancy them to keep a clean sheet with their run that they've got coming up. Mikalenko's up next. Again, similar sort of case with Anthony Robinson. There's no attacking threat really with Mikalenko, but Everton defensively usually are a decent side. Again, fixture run for them not looking too great. He is a good cheap option though, like similar to Joachim Andersen at 4.3 million. Both of them, again, could be a good sit on your bench for a couple of weeks, play them in the odd fixture, but I would not be looking to start these guys week in, week out. In 17th place is Levi Colwill. I just think for the next 3 fixtures, I can't see a clean sheet for Chelsea, and obviously he doesn't offer any attacking threat pretty much at all. So in that regard, you're just going to be hoping for the 2-pointers week in, week out, which is not ideal. I will say though, as a caveat on most of these defenders, not many of them have much attacking threat, and I think we've definitely seen almost like, not a downgrade, but like compared to years gone by when I look back and think back, there used to be a plethora amount of defenders getting attacking returns. We had Trent and Robbo getting like 20 attacking returns a season. John Lundstrom, just to name drop a couple. At the moment, we're really severely lacking those type of options, as I'll get onto in a moment. But yeah, I would probably avoid playing these guys in the next 3 game weeks if you do own them. Okay then, so we're moving on to the orange tier. We're starting off with Alex Moreno in 16th place at the moment. Nottingham Forest defensively have been one of the best teams so far this season. However, we've seen in recent weeks that it is starting to trail off when they're facing the better opposition. We saw it last week against Arsenal away from home. Obviously, they did pick up some good away results so far this season. They beat Liverpool at Anfield, which no other team has done so far this season. So they're nothing to be pushed over about. But for me, I'd just be avoiding them at the moment. Their fixture run is pretty bad for a pretty long period of time. Attacking threat wise, there's minimal attacking threat from Anya and Alex Moreno. I've got Alex Moreno on this list, but it sort of does cover off pretty much all of those defenders at the same sort of price point. So yeah, for me, I'd probably be avoiding at the moment. Saying that though, when their fixtures do improve, I think they are one of the best £4.5 million defences to get into. So yeah, down the list at the moment, but I'll see them gradually rising through that in the weeks to come. Emerson at 15th, again, someone who has okay attacking threat. We haven't seen too many attacking returns this season so far, but for me, again, it's like there's just not that many attacking defenders anymore. And obviously playing for that West Ham defence, I know they kept a clean sheet against Newcastle, but defensively so far this season, they have been really poor, and they did concede quite a few chances to Newcastle. Newcastle just didn't take them on the day. Van den Berg's up next. Again, this is going to be similar to Alex Moreno, where it's any Brentford defender. I've chosen Van den Berg. He'd probably be my go-to pick at the moment due to his price, only priced at 4.1 million. Their fixtures aren't great. There's a couple in there, obviously, like Leicester at home this week with no manager. I would probably start Van den Berg if you have him, or any other Brentford defender. But it does start tailing off after that. That's why a lot of managers are looking to get rid of Brian and Mbumo. And I think the same could be said for the defenders. You could definitely start looking at some other assets after this game week. Tyrick Mitchell is in 13th. He's actually got some decent attacking threat compared to the rest of the league. Again, the standard of the attacking threat is pretty low. It's obviously helped out as well by Glasner playing that three at the back formation, allowing Munoz and Mitchell to get some decent attacking numbers. Mitchell this season, though, has been outperforming Munoz in the underlying data. So for me, I'd probably go for Mitchell if you wanted to go for a Palace defender. Again, though, their fixtures aren't great. It seems to be a bit hot and cold. I think they have Ipswich at home and then Man City after that, so it's definitely going to be a rotational style defender that you're bringing in here. And for the price as well, just under £5 million, I just wouldn't really go near it, if I'm being totally honest. I just don't think it's worth the value for money there. And then Mazraoui in at 12th, probably a little bit higher on this list than I anticipated he probably would be maybe last week. That's just because he's just so good, to be honest. Not from an FPL perspective, but just in general football. I think United have a decent player on their hands there. He's quite versatile. I can't see them not playing without him. He just seems like he's most suited to the new system that Amarim's putting in at the moment. So yeah, at 4.6 million, if I'm not mistaken, he is a decent option. But again, United's fixtures, they are a bit like Crystal Palace's, where it's like one good game, one bad game, and they have, I think, City and Arsenal in the next 4 fixtures. So yeah, probably wouldn't be looking to hop on them now, but if you do own a Mazraoui or a Dalot or someone like that, then I would probably keep them for at least this game week, and then you can reassess going into next. Okay then, so into the top 12 defenders. Now these guys are probably going to be featuring in some of your teams or some targets that you might be looking to go in ahead and buy. Ezri Konsa is in at 12th, and that is mainly because of his fitness at the moment. Villa's fixtures aren't actually that bad going forwards at the moment. They've got some decent games after this Chelsea away fixture in Gameweek 13. The question is the fitness. Obviously, Konsa missed game week 12 due to an injury. I think in general that Aston Villa defence has not been too great so far this season. I think it is down to a lot of injuries in that back line and also in defensive midfield. So something to be wary of. I'm not the biggest advocate for Aston Villa defenders anyway. I think they're just seem to leak goals. Despite their underlying data usually being pretty good, they seem to concede on a consistent basis, just the one goal here and there. So yeah, a lack of clean sheets and obviously little attacking output from Konsa would makes him into 12th position. Lewis Hall is in 11th, and that is really just due to the fixtures. I think the next 3 aren't the best from a defensive point of view. After that, though, they are really nice, and I would be if I owned Lewis Hall right now, I would not be looking to sell him at any means. It's just as long as you've got some decent bench coverage for that Liverpool game in particular in the next 3, but they also have 2 away games. So say if you had like a Van den Berg, as we just mentioned, I'd probably look to play him over Lewis Hall in their away fixtures in their 2 out of the next 3. Diogo Dalot is next in 10th place. I own him personally. Slightly higher on the list than Mazraoui, just because the attacking threat is there with him. He didn't play great against Ipswich, but United are in this position where there's just no one better to play in those positions. I think even Ahmad, who had a great game at right wing back, we could definitely see him being moved further forward in the attack, I think, going forwards. It's all a learning process, to be honest, with this United team. I think there's going to be lots of chopping and changing until Amarim finds something he's more comfortable with. But at the moment, Diogo Dalot, if you own him, similar to Mazraoui, you're going to keep him for this week, but I would not be hesitant to get rid of him after this game week, because yeah, United defensively seem to leak chances anyway, and also if he's going to be a bit of a minutes risk at £5 million, there's a lot of other options that I'd prefer than him at the moment. Milos Kerkez at 4.4 million. I think great value. Bournemouth defence is okay. It's nothing great. It's nothing bad. Middle of the line, and obviously Kerkez does offer some good attacking threat. Nothing crazy. I think we've seen it before where he can get the odd assist from left back. So yeah, would be my pick of the bunch if you're going for a Bournemouth defender. Again, you got to sort of caveat that with, the attacking threat is semi there. It's nothing too great, but it's one of the best of a bad bunch, really. Van Heck is next, and this is basically any Brighton defender that you fancy. Van Heck is my personal favourite choice. Nailed. Clean sheets, that's all you're going to be looking at. There's almost zero attacking potential with him. However, Brighton have a really nice run of fixtures now, and you'd hope that they'll be able to pick up a couple of clean sheets in this nice run. So yeah, 4.5 million, can't complain with him. Leif Davis in at 7th, and to be honest, I wanted to put him in my top 6, but I couldn't quite squeeze him in there. I know Ipswich defensively are horrendous. They've conceded almost, I think, 25 expected goals against so far this season, which is, I think, the worst, or definitely bottom 3 in terms of defences so far this season. Leif Davis, though, has created the most chances out of all defenders, so you are going to get some attacking returns, and with clean sheets really hard to come by at the moment, I think you need to sort of prioritise those defenders that may get attacking returns, and with Leif Davis, you'd almost bet that he'll get an attacking return more than he'll get a clean sheet. So yeah, for me, I really like him at £4.5 million. He's good value. He's, like I say, he creates a lot of chances. He has a little bit of goal threat as well, which is fantastic. And if on the odd occasion they do keep a clean sheet, and then he might be able to pick up the assist, you're looking at a really big haul, like we saw maybe Wan-Bissaka do last week, which is, massive, because defenders at the moment just aren't really getting those double-digit hauls that we've seen in seasons gone by. Okay then, so into the top 6 defenders for FPL this week in Game Week 13. Trent Alexander-Arnold in at 6th place. So I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon, so I'm not sure if he is going to be in the team for the Madrid game. If he isn't, then obviously he would be not on this list, but this is going to be Liverpool defenders in general. I'm more looking at Virgil van Dijk rather than Konate. Konate's on 4 yellow cards at the moment, so I would not recommend going to buy him anytime soon. But Trent is at 6th. I think Liverpool's fixtures are a bit swingy. They're up and down, as I mentioned, with like sort of Crystal Palace and United. So yeah, not someone who I'd probably look to go and buy at the moment. Obviously, the attacking threat has not really been there from open play under Arne Slot like we've seen in seasons gone by. So it's mainly the set piece threat that you're going to get through Trent Alexander-Arnold at the moment. And that is also if he plays. He's coming off a hamstring injury. There's every chance that he could get his minutes sort of rotated. So yeah, for me, that's why he's in at 6th place. He probably would be a lot higher, but yeah, you can't guarantee those minutes right now. Jurrien Timber is in at 5th place. I don't really like to overlap the teams, if that makes sense, just because obviously there's the clean sheet potential is going to be the same, and then the attacking threat is usually similar. However, in this situation, it's a little bit different. Jurrien Timber doesn't really offer as much attacking threat as someone like a Gabriel. However, he is still a decent option. Obviously, he got an assist in the Champions League game against Sporting midweek. He seemed to be playing quite high and almost alongside Saka, like we've seen Ben White do in previous seasons. So yeah, for me, good option. He's obviously cheaper than Gabriel by 0.6 million as well. So if a budget is a bit of a problem, then I think going for Jurrien Timber, there will be no problems with that. I expect him to be starting pretty much most weeks at the moment, with obviously the injuries in that back line to Ben White. Even Gabriel's obviously got a question mark against him now this week. So yeah, for me, no problem going with Timber at the moment. Josko Vardiol is up next, which is controversial because obviously City defensively haven't been great so far this season. They go to Liverpool away this week, which is obviously not a great fixture. If I did own a City defender, which I do with Rico Lewis, they will be on my bench this game week. I don't think even Gvardiol's attacking threat is worth the risk at the moment. They do, however, have 2 home fixtures against Forest and Crystal Palace after this Liverpool game. I expect them to get back underway in those games. It's just been a nightmare. I think, to be honest, they were 3-0 up against Feyenoord. They made some big substitutions, and then it sort of capitulated from there. I don't think that will necessarily happen in the Premier League games. He's just trying to rest some of those players. Obviously, the squad depth at the moment at City is really, really low with all the injuries that they have. So yeah, for me, Gvardiol, if you've got him, I'd probably keep him. However, if you don't own him, I would not be going to buy him at the moment, despite him being in 4th place. I just think the fixtures, maybe you could look at getting him after this week, but right now he's not a buy. Ryan Aït-Nouri is in 3rd place, which is quite controversial because he is on 4 yellow cards. So he's 1 yellow card away from that 1-game ban. This can be the same said to Nelson Semedo. I don't really have a preference for either. To be honest, you could go with Nelson Semedo just to be a little bit differential. I think both of them carry decent attacking threat. Nuri carries a little bit more goal threat, which is obviously something that we've not really seen in these previous weeks. He's not been getting those attacking returns, and also Wolves haven't been keeping clean sheets. So yeah, for me, he's a good option just because the fixtures are good for Wolves, but I wouldn't expect anything crazy. As again, it's a player that can get you, you know, he has a ceiling that is really, really high, where his floor is quite low. But I would be sort of backing those types of defenders at the moment in FPL, just because this floors for a lot of these defenders are sort of 2 and 1 point. So if they're already going to be on the similar floor, you just as well go for the defender that's going to have that high ceiling. Pedro Porro is in at second, which is, again, could be controversial. Obviously, Spurs are without Van der Ven. They've just lost Vicario now. He's going to be out for a few months, so they're going to be playing Fraser Forster in goal. So, again, I don't think there's going to be a crazy amount of clean sheets for Spurs in the upcoming weeks. However, he does carry really good attacking threat. We saw it against City, seen it throughout this season. He takes the most shots of all defenders so far this season as well. So, you know, goal threat is massive with him, which is fantastic. 5.5 million as well. I don't think that's even a bad price point when you consider other assets that you can get for 5.5 million. Outside of João Pedro, you can make an argument that maybe Pedro Porro is the second best at that price point in the game. And then coming in at first is Gabriel. Now this, obviously, I've made these graphics last night during the Champions League game. He has then come off a little bit early with a potential issue. I don't think it's anything too serious, but it's something to monitor if you are looking to buy him. I would not be rushing in to buy him yet. I mean, Mikel Arteta's press conferences are pretty useless anyway, because he just usually lies. So it's just one of those ones. You might want to take the risk on him this week. The thing is, with Arsenal, they're in a really good position to try and, you know, push for this title race now, with City being really poor. I know Liverpool are 8 points clear, but it's easily, you know, doable to catch up on that. So for me, I would be looking at getting him in. I think if you could get Gabriel or him, I would be still looking at Gabriel just because of the goal threat that he offers from set pieces. He's phenomenal, and that's when you're going to be seeing those, you know, big double-digit hauls when he scores, gets the clean sheet, gets the bonus points. You'll be absolutely laughing. So yeah, Gabriel for me, the best defender to buy in FPL at the moment. Okay then, so that wraps up the best defenders ranked so far for Game Week 13. Obviously, as a reminder, I'm looking at the next 3 fixtures in particular for these assets, as well as obviously the combining factors of how their teams are doing in terms of the league at the moment. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you do leave a like. Obviously, let me know in the comments any questions that you have going into Game Week 13, and I'll be replying to absolutely all of them. But yeah, obviously team reveals will be coming on Friday, transfer targets will be coming on Thursday, so a full packed week on YouTube from the FPL graduates for this week. More to come as well in the weeks following, hopefully to keep these videos coming more consistently, which will be nice for you guys to watch, hopefully. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and have a good game week, everyone.